Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Never since the announcement of the remake of Godzilla vs. King Kong has there been a movie quite as anticipated as this one has. People have waited for nearly over a century for this very moment. The two most iconic superheroes of all time fighting each other and teaming up, thus setting up the Justice League and proudly starting off the DC Extended Universe. So, is Batman v Superman really the greatest gladiator match in the history of the world? Or is this a film that should just stay down? Let's find out. The story. The important thing to know about this movie is that it combines two of the most popular and acclaimed stories about Batman and Superman: The Dark Knight Returns and Death and Return of Superman. Now, you think that this would mean the movie's plot would be amazing, right? Actually, no, it isn't. Instead of a good story about these two fighting and then teaming up, Zack Snyder, or whoever wrote this film, felt like it was more important to focus on the style of the film itself rather than the substance of the story. This leads to a lot of confusing plot points and a lot of unutilized story potential, with a lot of superhero cliches. For example, a character dies, they come back to life at the end. As well, the film also seems to have a nasty habit of just cramming in scenes that have absolutely no purpose in this film, other than to just set up the Justice League, Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, and many more films that aren't even filming yet. There's nothing more I can say other than please just focus on actually telling a good story. The action. Now, this is where the movie truly shines. To an extent, of course. The action, even though it takes a long time to get started, is something to truly behold. It's fast-paced, energetic, and the focus is no longer on how many buildings are destroyed, but the heroes fighting the villain himself. This can go from a rather exciting chase with the Batmobile and X-Corps workers, to the Trinity battling Doomsday. But I'm pretty sure you all don't care about those battles. You're just interested in my opinion on the battle that was used to advertise Batman v Superman. Batman vs. Superman. Surprisingly, the fight isn't that entertaining. It's only there for over at least 1 to 2 minutes, and most of that time is actually kind of slow, with Batman doing more of the damage to Superman than vice versa. In fact, a lot of the action that isn't the Trinity versus Doomsday is mainly just explosions and lasers. In fact, even though there isn't any during the action, there is a lot of slow-mo in this movie for dramatic effect. A lot of explosions and slow-mo. If I didn't know any better, I would almost mistake this for a Michael Bay movie. All in all, even though the action could use less explosions and the battle between Batman and Superman could have been done better, it's definitely the best part of this movie. The characters. In a movie that only focuses on style over substance, do not expect that many good characters. Considering there are a lot of characters, I'm just going to talk about the truly important ones. First off, let's talk about the main character, Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. He is by far the only interesting character here. Bruce Wayne is a man who lost his family as a kid and battles crime dressed as a bat, who, after experiencing the destruction firsthand from the battle between Superman and Zod from Man of Steel, vows to destroy Superman to keep the Earth safe from the possible threat of Superman becoming evil. After Batman, you've got Clark Kent, aka Superman, who is starting to doubt if he really is helping people and is dealing with the consequences of the events of Man of Steel. Now that sounds interesting, right? Well, sadly, Superman is just glanced over, and some parts with him can even have been completely written out of the story. Wonder Woman is just there to give off some exposition for Justice League and to battle Doomsday in the end. Lois Lane is there to be someone to save. And then there's Alexander Luthor Jr. He is the head of Lex Corporation and is the main villain of the movie. He is by far the worst character in all of this flick. He is nonsensical. His motivation starts off with him hating Superman and wanting to kill him. Then for some unknown reason he starts to hate Batman and wants him dead. Then he unleashes a giant monster, this being Doomsday, to essentially destroy the world. What is his motivation? Oh, and if you're wondering about Doomsday, he's just a last minute threat that is pretty much nothing like the Doomsday in the comics. In short, if you're not Batman in this movie, you do not have a lot of screen time or development, or even really a purpose. I can honestly understand why this has the biggest box office drop of all time. Instead of being the great classic it promised us it would be, it's instead a poorly written Batman movie with Superman and Wonder Woman crammed in, with confusing plot points and scenes that only exist to set up Justice League with lots of unneeded or underdeveloped characters. Do I hate this movie? No. Do I think it's a good movie? Of course not. You may not agree with my opinion, but that's your opinion. For me, on the other hand, I can safely ask, please Marvel, pick up the slack that DC made, please!